Well, just something I wanted to point out was the coloring. The colorization of the film. Joss Whedon's taken over. We're not quite sure how much effect he's had on the movie. But something I did notice, because we have some scenes that are from the first trailer, or one of the previous trailers, we'll just call that, because I'm not sure which one this came from. But where Wonder Woman does her little leg sweep thing to one of those, whatever the hell they are, terrorist motherfuckers.
Right.
And you can obviously tell it's a big difference. The colorization. I put this up on our Instagram. The bricks.
At ComicMovieMarks.
At ComicMovieMarks. Damn, I'm not even good at plugging myself. But one of the things I did notice was like the bricks. And even Wonder Woman herself and her costume a little bit look a lot brighter. She looks pale almost in the recent one, in the Comic-Con one. And then the other one, she looked like she had a tan. The bricks looked tan and everything. So it had a warmer look to it. And this one has a much brighter look to it. Like all the windows are open in this one. and there's a lot of daylight coming in.
Yeah. I think it kind of going, to the lighter feel with all the jokes and everything like that. I definitely noticed that there was a little bit of color in like the daylight scenes, but then like when you have Flash on top of the rooftop, and even though he cracks a joke, it was still dark and gritty and felt Zack Snyder, like a Zack Snyder movie. I felt the Steppenwolf stuff felt like a Zack Snyder movie. You even have the one part where Wonder Woman does her her little arm crossing thing and shoot some shit at Steppenwolf in their battle, and that felt like a Zack Snyder movie. So I definitely agree with you. There were certain parts where I was like, it's kind of brighter. I think when Wonder Woman is talking to Bruce Wayne about, like, I don't even remember the quote she says, but
about the Age of Heroes or something.
Yeah, like and Bruce Wayne looks a little bit brighter, so I noticed it in that.
That's all done in post.
Yeah,
but that's all done in post because a lot of, especially the action sequences, have been probably shot a long time ago. They're probably not shooting new action sequences, and it's definitely not going to be in this trailer if they did.
Right.
I swear, it's just like he's going through and he's just upping the contrast a little bit.
Sorry, Zach, that's too dark.
I'm fine with that, actually, to be honest, because I do like the grittiness of Zack Snyder's cinematography style, but honestly, the way he washes out colors sometimes is just a bit weird, because if you see some scenes, characters like Superman and Wonder Woman with colorful costumes, the colors have been washed out so much that they kind of all look like a kind of different shades of brown, if you get what I mean.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm fine with a bit more color, to be honest.
Just there's kind of an aesthetic feel that they've had to the movies. And I kind of feel also that's a little bit more realism, too, when you kind of have this washed out look. Because, I mean, a lot of places are not very colorful,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the example that I've used is I think that it has helped to show Wonder Woman is perfect example. The real world is, pretty, like, mute for the most part. But then when you have Themyscira, it makes it so much brighter. And there is a huge contrast. Yeah.
Right.
And it stands out a little bit more to that. So I think it kind of depends. I do like the grittiness. I get what you're saying, Tim, about the the coloration and everything. But there's certain parts like in Man of Steel, for example, when it's daylight and you see a little bit more color on the suit. I think that that adds kind of to the scene and stuff. But then when it's like dark, like in Batman v Superman, and he's like in front of Lex Luthor, it adds to the scene. I don't want that whole scene to be like bright and fun when he's kidnapped his fucking mom.
Right.
So and that's what I've always liked about Zack Snyder is it feels real and it kind of helps bring you into the tone of the movie and what they're trying to go with. So I think that I hope it's certain parts, and like Tim said, I wouldn't mind it going up a little bit in the contrast, but I hope that in specific parts that are supposed to be serious, it sticks to the grittiness, like the Steppenwolf. I think that's my main concern is keep the Steppenwolf character. Who's the villain in Wonder Woman?
Oh, Ares.
Yeah, thank you. He when it was his fight, it was still dark, still felt gritty, and so that's mainly what I hope that they're sticking with. So,
and then one other thing I wanted to add, they had the Hot Toys at San Diego Comic-Con, and I thought this was kind of cool. They actually have a Superman toy there, and he looks a lot brighter in this toy. The blue is a much brighter blue, the yellow is much brighter, and the red is much brighter in the toy, especially compared to the Batman versus Superman one. Right. And on our Comic Movie Marks Instagram, we posted this, a little side-by-side picture of what the one looked like in Batman versus Superman, and then the one in Justice League. And I just thought that was kind of interesting that they're brightening his suit again, because I've seen that on this social media shit.
Right.
That everybody's like, oh, they add a tint of brightness to the thing, and everybody's like, that's so much better. And I don't really get that much. I don't really know why making his blue a little bit brighter really makes him a better character.
Right. Yeah. To me, I've always thought that it was the plan. I know that people are like, oh yeah, thank God for Joss Whedon, him coming in. But if you go back to kind of the quotes that we had talked about with Zack Snyder, and how he had this whole plan for Superman,
right,
and he had to die so the Batman can go get the Justice League and bring him together. I always felt that when he would come back, I knew he was going to have a brighter suit, because that's the whole story arc of he's dark, he's trying to find himself, and then once they have to figure out a reason why he has a brighter suit, I guess, would be the only thing. Maybe
I guess Bruce probably makes it for him, and he's like, hey dude, you've been dead so long, and I've been depressed while you were dead, so here, I'm just gonna make it brighter so we're all happy now.
Maybe he used Clorox for colors.
Yeah, there we go.
Clorox bleach for colors. And just, what was that one stupid commercial where they're like, which one's your kid? And it's like the one in white.
Needs to get the blood stain out.
I actually did make that comment on our Instagram. I was like, if you really want to be authentic, or you really want to have a real toy, it should have a hole in the chest.
Yeah. Had to get the bleach the blood stain out, and now it's a little bit brighter. Yeah, but I always thought that's how it was gonna go.
Yeah.
And honestly, I liked in the comparison of the two toys, that I hope that they kind of take away some of the glossiness, and that's what it seemed like they were going to do, is go more with the matte look that they had in Man of Steel. And then, because I don't know if it bugged you guys, but when it brought on in the Batman v Superman, and he has the updated suit, updated belt buckle, and a couple slight things from Man of Steel, his suit was also very glossy. And it kind of bugged me. There's certain scenes like when he's fighting Batman and it's like pouring rain, and it like added way too much water to an already glossy suit.
Yeah.
And there's certain scenes didn't bother me at all. Like the Capitol building. But there were other ones where I'm like, man, it's so glossy, it just bugs me. But so if they go with more of like a matte look, and then they brighten it up a little bit, then I think that'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind, and I don't think it's Joss Whedon,
right? And that's just one thing I wanted to point out. Like, if this is how his suit's going to look in Justice League, it's not a Joss Whedon idea.
Yeah, it's a Zack Snyder. Yeah,
it's got to be a Zack Snyder idea, because they pretty much, when it comes to toys and how studios do that shit, the toys, the molds and everything are almost start getting done before the movie's even out half the time, because they send the shit to China because they want to have little 14-year-old boys make their toys.
14? Man, those guys are about to retire.
Yeah. But they send the molds to China, and they have to go through all the coloring and all the things there. Right. And so that's the one these toys come from. So it's a long, arduous process. It's definitely not a Joss Whedon thing. No. It was a plan from the start, if it was, from Zack Snyder. Yeah,
so. Exactly. If that is in fact the case, that his suit is brighter in the movie, which Hot Toys are usually pretty damn close to, you look at the rest of the suits, and the comparison I was making was between Wonder Woman and Superman, because her colors are so dark, and if you put the new Hot Toys next to each other, then Superman is definitely a lot brighter. That definitely shows that was an intentional thing. If like Wonder Woman was a lot brighter, and maybe Flash's red was a lot brighter, then you're like, oh, okay, well, it's not consistent with the movie. That's just for the toys. So